Hey everyone, welcome to episode 7. On today's episode, we're going to find out if Sistat is still out on the Eagles season after their win in New Orleans. We will recap the Giants' impressive win over the Browns, and we're going to get into the final week of the MLB regular season. Sistat has his tweets ready to go to mock New York fans on Twitter, and we'll answer our subscriber questions as well. All that and more coming up next. Welcome back. Before we get into the Eagles, if you are watching or listening to the pod, first off, thank you. Secondly, please subscribe, share with your friends, coworkers, family. We are putting a lot into this, trying to get quality content out, and we, as we're trying to build this out, we can't do it without your help. So we'd appreciate share it, subscribe, and then if you do subscribe, thank you, very much appreciated. Please share your feedback, constructive feedback, critical feedback, things that you want us to talk about, things you disagree with. We'll take it all. We appreciate everything. So, all right. So getting into the Eagles, last week on episode 6, you were out of them. You were out on them. The season was over.
It was over.
You said they're not a good team. Maybe they'll win 7 to 10 games, crying about it, right? 1-1. No chance, you said. No chance they beat the Saints. All right. They win 15-12. Despite you saying there's no chance, somehow they won. Miracle happened. They won. How do you feel now? Are you still out of them or are you back in?
I reverse jinxed them.
What I was saying you were doing.
So I have one foot back in the pool right now. And I'll tell you why. Honestly, the biggest sense of optimism that I have right now is just actually looking around the league and just seeing all of these insane upsets and scores going on. You can't really feel that bad. I don't remember 2 weeks having this many upsets maybe ever. I mean, you just think back to last week with, the Saints beating the Cowboys and the Niners over the Vikings and, the Bucks over the Lions. And then this week was somehow even crazier. You had the Broncos going to Tampa Bay and kicking Tampa Bay's ass. You had the Panthers somehow beating the Raiders. The Raiders just had themselves the win of the year, beating the Ravens last week. And just all over, everywhere you look, there's
and the Ravens go and beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys almost come back in that game. And I don't know if you saw, they ran like 75% of the snaps, which is crazy on the Cowboys.
The 49ers losing to the Rams, who are like extremely injured right now. So, man, if you could somehow just get wins at this point, like they don't have to be pretty, you just have to get it done. As far as the game goes, I cannot believe they won that game. Not for actual like play reasons. I think they thoroughly outplayed the Saints. But I think they put themselves in so many bad situations. The penalties were just so killer. It seems like any time they had any sort of momentum going, they just shot themselves in the foot. 12 men in the huddle.
Pretty much the first 3 quarters of the game were like that.
Yeah,
they would drive every time, blocked punt, Hurts interception in the end zone, Hurts fumble. Penalties. It was just a lot of, like, every time they had the ball, they were moving it, and then they would just either turn it over or commit penalties and ruin the drive.
Right. To put a wrap on just how I'm feeling with the game. So the fact that they went down there and beat the hottest team in the NFL, obviously was early, but this is a team that scored over 40 points twice in the first 2 games. Yep. Their offense was Derek Carr had scored in every drive he's played in this season until this game. So impressive stuff, what they were putting together, again, albeit a small sample size. But to go down there and you're already missing A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith goes down, their third wide receiver, Britton Covey, goes down. the right side of their line goes down. Now they have backup right guard and right tackle in, and to just somehow go down there, move the ball, and steal that game was insane. I think the coach should be kissing Saquon Barkley's feet. He should be doing anything he asks of him, because he really saved their ass. That 65-yard touchdown run that he had, was just incredible. I mean, this guy is the fastest guy on the field, and he is a fucking unit, man. Like, I don't know how this guy's got his burst back. That was a lot of worry that people had was, oh, he's an older running back. He's got so many miles on him. He's had so many injuries. He just doesn't have that same burst that he did when he first came into the league. And through at least 3 weeks, hopefully they don't have to keep giving the ball to him 27 times a game, but for the first few weeks, he looks as spry as ever. And it's really cool to have somebody like that on your team. The coach.
Yeah.
I cannot fathom the coaching decisions that this guy makes. You would think he would have learned his lesson after last week. Again, you're down your best player on offense. The defense is playing extremely well, unexpectedly well, and you're foregoing points for no reason. This decision...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, they went for it on fourth down a bunch of times.
They went for it on fourth down. So here's so they went for it on fourth down several times. Here's the thing. So they're down 3-0. They put together a very nice drive right before the half ends. They get the ball at like their own 10-yard line, put together a nice drive. They get the ball down to like the 15-yard line. They have, I think, like 12 seconds left. They had one timeout. They ran that play on 4th and goal instead of taking the points, or fourth down instead of taking the points. And like, even if you got that first down, you would have had 8 seconds left. You would have had to burn your timeout. Like,
yep.
What?
I took a note of that. I mean, that I didn't understand. That one didn't make sense to me. That's when they did like they could have done the push tush, and they did like the end around to Saquon.
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever that was, misdirecting to Saquon.
Right. And just a stupid decision, because again, like,
that does, even
if you get it, you get what? One shot at the end zone, maybe? It just makes no sense.
Is the idea that maybe he breaks it?
I think the idea, from what I gather, is he, for some reason, is trying to instill like confidence in his players, which is just stupid. Because that's a great point that you bring up. Like, either you're analytical, like, or you're not. Like, kind of pick one. Because in this instance, last week his excuse was the analytics say that you go for it. In the first quarter against Atlanta last week. This time, the analytics.
Can I just change one thing about? Let me just change one thing about what you said.
Sure.
It's not his excuse; it's his reasoning. All right, continue.
Okay, sure. So anyway, now
an excuse implies that he did something wrong. That he needs you need to make an excuse for doing something wrong, but he was just giving a reason for a decision. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Well, sure. Okay. Anyway, so. Now, instead of, after playing a really good half of football with a couple of just mistakes, again, you had the Hurts pick in the end zone, which was a bad decision. It wasn't egregious, but it was bad. The fumble, I'm not really going to kill him for that. I mean, he was trying to escape. Somebody came in.
It was bad awareness. Right. It wasn't good awareness.
Right.
But it happens.
But it happens, right? You can sort of live with that. Yeah, this decision was just really dumb. So then, again, you put together a good half of football. You come out of the locker room. You get the ball. You're putting together another drive, and now you're at, like, you take it down to the 25 or something like that. Again, another 4th and medium, 4th and short. And again, you're only down 3, and I could not believe that he was bringing that the offense stayed on the field for this one. Like, this time. It's so funny because I was watching the game. I had to DVR it, unfortunately, which is probably why you noticed I wasn't texting you off the hook during the game.
It does make sense now. I was wondering.
Yeah.
I thought you know what's funny? Some of my friends who listen to the pod, they they text me now during Eagles games.
Nice.
Like, what's this stat saying?
Oh God. Yeah, I'm just saying sound, logical, definitely nothing unhinged. But so I'm watching, so it's funny. I'm watching on playback, which kind of sucks, but it's kind of okay because you get to fast forward for the commercials. Definitely sucks because like I just turn my phone off and I don't listen to anything. Like I just am a hermit.
That's
It's
crazy
kind of
to
weird.
me. But
Kind
yeah,
of weird to walk around without your phone for an afternoon in 2024. But
you feel
anyway,
like something's
so I'm
missing. Yeah,
watching
for
it,
sure.
and Jenna's on the couch behind me, and she will kind of like look up when I start to get really animated, and they're bringing the offense back onto the field, and I'm standing up like with my hands up, and I'm like, there's no way he's going for this.
Hold on a
And
second, dude. What point of the game is this? This is the second half.
This is in the
Third
third
quarter?
quarter. Yes, third quarter. Where again they're still only down 3-0, so they're still playing relatively well. And this is at the point where again they had just to end the first half.
Oh, this is when Hurts gets sacked, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So again, they're still down 3-0. They're still well within field goal range. And I stand up. I'm like, there's no way. And I am extremely upset at this point. But I felt justified because again, I'm standing up and I'm kind of looking back at her like with my arms up. And they pan to Eagles fans in the crowd, and they're all doing the exact same thing.
Oh well, yeah.
Like, you can read their lips, and they're all saying it was like I was like a ventriloquist for them because I was saying, "What the fuck are they doing?" Like as this drunk Eagles fan in the stands is saying the same thing.
And the score in this situation, they're still down 3-0, right?
They're still down 3-0.
Okay.
But it was just nice because I felt justified because I could point to the screen and say, look, I'm not the only like unhinged one. Everyone's saying the exact same thing I am. So
yeah, everyone has the same reaction. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So they go for it. Hurts gets sacked. It's a fucking disaster. More back and forth ensues. Devontae Smith goes down. Barkley busts the run. Now we're back. Now we're feeling pretty good. So Saints come back. They kick a field goal. They're up 7-6 still. Again, the defense is still playing very, very well. So now they're up 7-6. It's probably 8 minutes to go or so in the fourth quarter. They don't get it on a 3rd and 11. And now he wants to kick the field goal. Now this motherfucker wants to kick the 60-yard field goal.
Okay, but give the actual context. How many yards to go?
I think 11. It was long.
There you go. That's the context. 4th and 11.
60-yard field goal. This
4th
kicker
and 11.
4th and 11 at the 43.
Why can't he make 60-yard field goals? I see kickers make around 60 yards all the time.
We haven't seen this kicker make one of those since 2017.
You haven't seen it. That doesn't mean they haven't seen it in practice. You haven't seen it.
And here's the biggest thing. Punt the ball. Your defense was playing amazingly.
Oh, you want them to punt here. Oh, you want them to punt here. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying this is the time to go for it.
No. I'm just saying you kick the field goal instead of punting.
That's a tough decision, though, dude. That's really close.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's very close.
60 yards is too far. Again, this guy has not kicked a field goal in a game situation like that.
In a game situation, fine.
Since 2017.
Okay, but what if he was making 60-yard field goals in warm-ups? Then what? If you saw that happen, would you be like, okay, I understand it?
If I saw it happen, first of all, the guy gets no reps because he doesn't kick any goddamn field goals because they always just go for it every time. So
let's table that. I do want to talk about that, by the way. Let's table that, though.
Sure.
So in this situation, they should have punted, you're saying.
Say again?
But in this situation, you're saying they should have punted. But what if...
Of course they should have punted.
Let me just throw this out there with you. Ready? And I don't know the actual statistics and percentages on this, but let's just say the percentage of getting it down inside the 10 is in that situation is like, I don't know, 5%. and the percentage of a touchback is like 40%. Does that change it at all for you?
No, because the defense was again, the defense is playing great. So why are we going to chance giving them the ball at midfield
You can use
instead
that for
of
both. You could use that in both ways. Like defense is playing great. Well, they're going to come out and get a stop anyway. You could use
okay,
that for
I
both
see what you're saying.
arguments.
Right, but at that point they're 15 yards away from getting in field goal range. So it's like,
All
and
right.
they, again, you're only up 1 point. So I just thought
So
it was just
there's
such a
also
so stupid.
I also have one more thing about this though. By punting it, the Saints start further back on their own field. If they do drive down and score, there might not be any time for the Eagles to get the ball back and score again. So basically, you're doing a 2-for-1 possession like in basketball.
Yeah, I think there was still plenty of time at that point. I see what you're saying, but I don't think it applies here.
Okay. So they missed the field goal. They missed a 60-yarder by a lot. Wasn't
Field
close.
goal by a lot.
Yep.
Not even close. And then the Saints score a touchdown on their ensuing possession. And then obviously, I mean, dude, I wonder what the percentage chance of the Saints losing that game was, because it's like, this must be how Falcons fans felt last week,
I think, I didn't see any of that, but I do think the situation, I think it's very tough. I was watching this live and I thought, I'm not sure what I would do here, because I really do think when you're at like the 40, whatever they're at, 43, 45, 43, it is really tough to pin a team back when you're that close. It's a really hard punt. So I think the fact that the odds of there being a touchback on the punt, you got that factors into the decision. So if now you're talking about 23 yards difference, are we willing to risk 23 yards for the chance of 3 points?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that, it factors into that decision. And he's also making a decision really quickly. I don't know if he has someone running the numbers on this and then telling him like the analytical thing, the best percentages. I don't know. Or if he's just making a decision in the moment live, weighing all these factors in. Like, it's not that easy of a decision. I understand why they tried the field goal. I've seen kickers make 60-yard field goals. In that situation, I think if they punt, there's most likely going to be a touchback.
Yeah, I mean, of course you've seen NFL kickers make 60-yard field goals, but it's not easy. It's not like a super high percentage. I mean, you have a couple guys who are just automatic. This guy for the Cowboys is insane. This guy just bombs 60+ yard field goals like every week. But yeah, look, he's got whatever the opposite of the Midas touch is right now is what Sirianni has, because every decision he makes it's seemingly the wrong one right now. Now some of that stuff is going to flip.
I don't think you missed this because you were talking about the fourth down conversions, but I also do want to add something regarding the fourth down stuff. The Saints did it too. The Eagles had a great stop on 3rd and short and 4th and short, right after the blocked punt. So the Saints didn't score after the blocked punt.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the defense was, the ultimate egg on my face game as far as the defense goes. I mean,
oh yeah, because the defensive line, you can't see it being good again. There's no way this team could get to the quarterback. Jalen Carter was amazing.
Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis was a monster, man. Yeah. I mean, Jordan Davis had the best game I'd seen him play in an Eagles uniform to this point.
You still didn't get the edge
he had on Derek Carr. The second possession of the game was incredible. I mean, this guy is like 350 pounds, man, and he was darted to Derek Carr like really quickly. So yeah, everybody had a really good bounce back game. Even like the secondary, like the guys, like the catches that the Saints made, I feel like all of them were contested, like tough catches. I remember a couple like really big 3rd down plays, like Olave just had a nice grab. There was one where Kamara kind of mossed the linebacker. Like, these are just good players making good plays. The coverage was really sticky. So, and yeah, they were back there. They got sacks. They got pressures. They got hits. They had a lot of TFLs on Kamara in the backfield. So just amazing. I just don't know how you go from last week to that. It's so hard to not try to have revisionist history just because it's in our face all the time. Like
Yeah,
just
so but this is what but I here's what I this is you're in the majority. I'm definitely the minority of sports fans. I watch a game and I see something happen and I understand how people feel like, "Oh, how is this going to be corrected?" This is like it seems like this is who they are. And how could they play better next week? How could they play better next game? But the thing is, I've as a sports fan, as someone who consumes so much sports, we've seen this happen so many times where players, just like anything in life, someone has a good day, someone performs well, someone has a bad day where they don't perform as well. Like it's the same concept. So like that's why when I'm seeing something, I'm never. That's always in the back of my mind. Like I know right now, it seems like how is this going to be corrected, but like that's what happens. Next week they might play terribly.
yeah, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I yeah, for this week they were all great.
So
They all stood up.
after after Olave scored that touchdown to get the Saints the lead, what were you? How were you feeling then? Were you down? Did you think they were going to come back?
Oh no, I didn't think they were going to come back.
What did you think was going to happen?
Only for the fact that like they were just so decimated on offense. I mean that. I thought that they were going to maybe I don't know drive the ball a little bit, maybe gain some yards, but I didn't think they were going to get in the end zone. Especially like, dude, that last play to Goddard, that was a 3rd and 16, and they were just coming off a huge sack. No AJ, no Devontae, no Covey. Like Goddard was like literally the only option
Pass
on that
catcher.
play.
Yeah.
Like if he's not open, then they lose the
Yep.
game. And man, he had the best game of his career too. I've been kind of clamoring for more Dallas Goddard over the
Yeah.
past few weeks here, even going back to last year,
Yeah. Well,
because the
yeah, I
guy's
know you
really
have.
good. And he was on full display today. I mean, some of those catches he made, that one in the first quarter where it was like over his head, it was a really long, like deep ball, really hard catch, coming down from the like having
That
to
was a nice
track that
catch.
ball, and again, it kind of went almost like behind his head a little bit. Um, so he had that catch. He also had that one-handed grab on 3rd down that he ended
Oh,
up breaking
the
for like
left-handed catch. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this guy was again breaking tackles, just really, really great game out of him. But yeah, I mean that last yeah, I mean I was ready to fucking call it quits at that point, you know?
And then the Goddard play happened, and then after that, you probably so they were like what they're like first and what are they 1st and 10 to 13 or something like or no the 1st and goal at that point, right?
1st and goal from the 5. Yeah.
At that point you're confident, I'm
At
assuming
that
you're
point
or you're
I
hopeful.
mean, listen, I'm
Hopeful.
feeling hopeful. Yeah, feeling hopeful.
Okay.
I kind of and the broadcast even said this, but like, hey, don't like maybe they shouldn't score on the first touch just because they'll have to, they'll make the Saints burn a timeout at least.
Did you think that?
I saw the logic behind it, but like if you're gonna score, like just score. Like don't
Yeah,
play
in that
games.
situation I don't mess around.
Yeah,
No. It's
yeah,
not there's no guarantee you're scoring. I wouldn't mess around.
exactly.
Yeah. And then they give it to Saquon on the 2-point conversion as well.
Yep.
Which I mean, why not? Great play.
Great call. Right. I mean, again, everyone's down, so you're either going to Saquon or Dallas. So, yeah. And then there was, I mean, again, but even that point, you're not feeling great
It's not
because
over.
of what happened last week, right?
Saints have the ball.
But yeah, but they got back there. They caused some pressure, and Carr threw a pick, and we all sighed an exhale of relief.
2-1, first place in the NFC East.
2-1.
How
first
things have
place in the
changed.
NFC East. Yeah.
Season was over.
Season
Was
was
over. They had no chance of beating the Saints. Oh, so now they have a chance of beating the Bucks, though.
I suppose they do. I mean, they are. I mean, dude, it's going
Come
to
on.
depend on. Well, it's
I
going to depend on
suppose
some
they
of
have a
these.
chance.
It's going to depend on some of these injuries, though, man. I mean, you can't play. Devontae Smith was huge for them before he got hurt, so I don't think that they can go in and not have their top 3 receivers the right side of their line.
Well,
Also,
it seems like a
Slay, who had a
challenge.
very good game, he left the game. Looks like he had a knee issue. So yeah, I mean, I still would think that they're going to be pretty heavy underdogs, and they probably should be. I think if they get some guys back, then they
They should
they'll
be
have a
slight
chance.
underdogs.
Yeah, I think they got to get some guys back, and it sucks because I'm
Well,
sure that some of these guys, like I'm sure that AJ Brown, because they have a bye week after this week is their bye week, so I think some of these guys who were hurt were probably going to take the opportunity to rest up, you know, not force it to play against Tampa Bay because you have the bye week, and now it's like they might have to ramp up some of these guys early.
I wouldn't count them out even if they have a lot of guys out. I mean, it's we've seen too many things
Yeah,
happen
I mean at
where
this
it's
point, I mean the Rams had all their guys out and they just beat the
plus
Niners.
I'm not familiar with the Bucks injury situation. They might have their own injuries. I don't know if you saw anything.
So there's actually a dude that I work with, a Tampa Bay fan, and he said that they have a lot of their secondary is really banged up.
I don't know if that
Which,
helps the
well,
Eagles if their receivers are out.
it might level the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, backups versus backups.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
You look at this. What a better mood!
I know.
Unbelievable.
I
One
know.
and one
I
and
feel
2 and
so much
1.
better. I feel so much better. I really do.
Oh, what if they lost? You'd
Oh my
be.
god. Oh my god. Well, at least I could come in here and say I told you so and that I was right.
Yeah. Now you're in a situation where you're the fan that wants to be wrong.
No, yeah,
So
of
happy to be wrong.
course. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
You choose your loyalty to the Eagles over your loyalty to yourself.
Oh my god. Yeah.
All right,
That's
so
right.
Eagles win 15-12 at Tampa next week. I'm gonna predict the Eagles are gonna lose in Tampa.
Me too.
You too. Okay,
Yes.
we'll see though.
We'll see.
All right, the
Here's where the
Giants.
bad news comes in. Right.
So
Exactly.
you can
Oh
have a
god.
nice weekend, a nice football Sunday. The Eagles win, they surprise you, and then the Giants have to win. They have to do that to you. They're so up. You can't just have a nice, enjoyable weekend with your family. The Giants have to ruin it for you. I feel horrible for you.
Pretty
I'm so
much.
sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it just sucks. It always sucks when
All right, this game is really funny. So, and trying to watch this and the Eagles game at the same time is not, and Red Zone like all at the same time, by the way, is not very easy. But I did find myself watching the Eagles more than Red Zone or the Giants, by the way.
wow.
So this game is so funny. So right, they fumble the opening kickoff. Deshaun Watson comes on, first play, touchdown. And I'm sure Giants fans felt, oh, well, here we go again. So the season's over, game's over. It's going to be a blowout, right? That's typically what fans would feel after seeing that. Next offensive series, Daniel Jones throws a pick. And at that point, even I'm thinking, oh, this game's a joke. Giants suck. Like, I'm even thinking that. So it's crazy that they won this game. And Daniel Jones played a really good game. By the way, speaking of Daniel Jones, do you recall a couple episodes ago I brought up, I think it was after week 1, I brought up the quarterback statistic, CPOE?
Yes.
Do you remember what it stands for?
Something expected completion percentage?
Yeah,
Completion percentage over expected.
Perfect.
Wow.
That's exactly what it is.
Look at that.
In week
And they
3,
say I'm not analytical, man.
Yeah, I don't know who says that. Not including Monday night games, because we're recording this during the Monday night games right now. The number 1 quarterback in CPOE this week, week 3.
Don't.
Daniel Jones.
Oh my god.
Now, before you lose your mind and other people like, oh, you're saying he's the best quarterback. First of all, just like anything in life, if you're looking to invest in a stock, if you're looking to analyze athletes, one stat, one metric doesn't tell the story. If you're only looking at one, you're doing yourself a disservice. So saying that he was first in something doesn't make him the best. Secondly, we're talking about just week 3, very small sample size. But considering that in week 1, he was 28th, and this week he was number 1, pretty good. And that's just an efficiency metric, by the way. It's not
Yeah.
everything, just efficiency.
Yeah, this is not good, man. I am very, very worried about them becoming a good team.
Oh, it's like one of your worst nightmares. The
It's
Eagles
one of
being
my
bad and the
worst
Giants being good would
nightmares.
be worse.
Oh my God. Yeah, it wouldn't get any worse than that. Yeah, I mean, we're in trouble here, man. I mean, they looked good, and it's not just that like they looked good. It's that they look like a football team. Like their offensive line looked pretty good against what people say is a good defense. I don't know how much longer we can kind of tote that rhetoric for. The defensive line looked like it had a really good game.
Dexter Lawrence was
Um,
awesome in this game.
right,
Dexter
right.
Lawrence, 2 sacks, 4 pressures. The Giants, by the way, I saw this 17 quarterback hits,
Mm-hmm.
tied for the second most in a game since 1999.
Yeah. So that's
Browns offensive
not
line's a
good.
mess, though.
Right. Well, I hope that's the case.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
what
and
happened
and
to them
and
against the
now they
Cowboys,
have
too.
right, and this is and yeah, and now they have a couple playmakers, man. They've got obviously they have Neighbors who is
Neighbors is awesome.
insane. To that touchdown grab he made in the end zone
So,
sends fucking shivers down my spine, dude. Because I want
so acrobatic.
oh
Such a good
my
play.
God, what an
Yep.
unbelievable fucking grab that was.
Oh,
And,
you're going to
And
hate this guy.
Singletary, I'm gonna hate him. And Singletary can play too, man. He's just a solid
Singletary
back.
he's a huge issue.
Fumbles.
So, by the way, I saw this. He has 16 career fumbles.
Wow.
His rookie season was 2019. He's the most fumbles in the NFL during that span.
Wow. That's crazy.
So yeah, he's a good back, but fumbling is much more detrimental than
sure.
than a positive run
Yeah.
is positive. So
Yeah.
that's a big problem.
So this is I mean we might and dude, I mean call me crazy, call me just I'm just Mr. Pessimism.
Negadelphian.
Perpetually pessimistic. I don't know that it's like a foregone conclusion that they lose to the Cowboys on Thursday, man. I mean, Dallas did not look good.
Wait, hold on. It's definitely not a foregone conclusion.
Oh,
Not at all.
People talk about it like the Cowboys are going to just go in there and did what they did to them last year and just spank
People
them
are
up and
not
down the
paying
field.
attention to how bad the Cowboys' run defense has been so far this year.
I know.
I'm not saying that the Giants are going to win, but to look at that game and say, "Oh, that's an easy win for the Cowboys." How can you look at what's happening around the NFL right now and say that? That's crazy.
Dude, if we come in here, could you just imagine this? The seventh circle of hell for me would be they beat the Giants or they beat the Cowboys and the Eagles lose to the Bucks. The Giants will be in first place in the NFC East.
Are you sure that you'd rather the Cowboys win that game than the Giants, though?
How long have you known me for? Is that a serious question? Yes. The answer is 10 times out of 10.
No, hold on a second. Hold on. Not 10 times out of 10. There has to be a situation where
right.
Cowboys win the NFC
all
East.
Context. I'm taking all context into account. Like right now, it's week 4. They both have the same record. There will never be a scenario where again, in this context, I root for the Cowboys every time. I understand if you take the long view and say, "Oh, okay, Dallas is going to be better this year, so you're going to want them to lose." Don't care. Now, obviously, to your point, if it's week 15 and the Eagles need the Cowboys to lose, then yes, of course, I will put my pride aside and root for the Giants in that aspect. But yeah, week 4, fuck no. Like, go, please, Dallas. I can't have it. I can't have a 2-2 ascending Giants team that should be 3-1 if they had a kicker. Like, yeah, I don't need that right now.
Okay. All right, you don't need that. You've established just so you're rooting for the Cowboys. Anyway, I definitely think that's a winnable game. I don't think it's crazy to think that the Giants are going to win that game. Not at all.
I think, man, I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to pick to win that game, but it is a hard decision. You know, I'll just put it at that.
Neighbors is awesome. First player with 20 catches, 3 touchdowns in first 3 games in NFL history. He had a play where he ripped the ball from the corner. I think it was Emerson. He had a play where Daniel Jones really threw a pick and Neighbors made a great defensive play. Neighbors is just amazing. He's so good. And the Giants defense really showed up. Dexter Lawrence, like I said, had a great game.
Oh my God.
The defensive line played really well. But, dude, the Browns have had huge issues with their offensive line. The Browns' offense is a disaster. Deshaun Watson is not a good player anymore at all. He's just not a good quarterback. And he was one of the best quarterbacks. But they have a lot of issues. And also the Giants' offense, they didn't score a single point in the second half.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's encouraging.
You're encouraged by that. No
I'm
second half points.
That. Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go. You need to find something.
Give me some analytic about how bad the Browns are. That will make me feel better.
Yeah, I don't have anything for you right now.
Okay.
But
find one.
Giants win 21-15. I'll find you something.
Thank you.
Thursday night against the Cowboys. Potentially going to be doing a Giants-Cowboys Thursday Night Football recap episode like we did for the Jets. Speaking of the Jets, for those of you that are expecting a recap, you could find actually it was me and Brad Dalius that we recorded the Jets-Pats recap right after the game. We posted it the next morning. So for Jets-Pats recap, go to that. You'll find it on our YouTube and Spotify page. Something to add that we didn't include because we recorded right after the game. Morgan Moses is out 2 to 4 weeks with a sprained MCL, which is actually kind of good news considering the fear was torn MCL. So the first round pick Fashanu will step in for the next couple of weeks, and Moses will be back. He's not out for the season, so that's actually a good thing. Anything that game was a while ago. Anything that did you watch that game?
I did not. No.
You did not. Okay. All right. Yeah. Jets played amazing. Rodgers looked amazing. So
he's back.
He might be.
What are your thoughts on the Rodgers and Salah going to embrace each other?
I'm assuming you're joking with that question. I'll answer it though. This is actually really funny. So you know how I compare sports fans to society and say it's like sports fans just like exaggerate what people do in society. It's almost like a platform to be okay to be ridiculous. So it's acceptable to be just like, side note. Remind me if I forget to go back to the question you asked me. But I was listening to WFAN today for I usually listen to music or podcast in between longer drives, but it was in between a quick drive between meetings. And I turn on WFAN and I hear Sal Licata. They're talking about Neighbors, how great Neighbors is, and for some reason you can't talk about Neighbors without comparing it to the Giants' last great receiver, Odell. You can't.
That's right.
Yeah, and he says he's so much better than Odell. And plus, Odell was an immature idiot. What? Yes. The athlete is the immature idiot. The person on the radio that's crying about an athlete being an immature idiot, very mature, very
That's
professional.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. On the radio, calling some guy you've never met in person an immature idiot. Yes, that's very mature. So
that's right.
So funny.
That's
right. Okay, so
Rodgers and Salah, yeah.
Rodgers and Salah. So yes, everyone likes to play detective. Everyone likes to be like a private investigator. They see something. Oh my God, you saw that? You look at Rodgers. Look how Rodgers looked at him. He hates him. He hates him. He wants Hackett to be the head coach. Like, how can you see something? How can you look at that 5-second encounter and think you understand their relationship? But this is what people do. It's not just sports. People think that they're all PIs.
That's right. Who can read lips?
Dude, it is so ridiculous. I mean, first of all, you can't know from that what their relationship's like. Secondly, based on how Rodgers and Salah talk about each other, they get along great. And who really cares? Like, what do you think? They hate each other? Like, even if they're not really close, whatever, who cares? Like, people are just trying to make something of nothing.
even if they didn't have a great relationship, even if they were just like fine, like you're allowed to butt heads with people that you work with, and like it doesn't have to be a major deal. Like you can,
Especially on a foot in football. Yeah, that
right,
happens all the
right,
time.
right.
Like
Yeah,
there's so much emotion going on in this game for like between the head coach and the quarterback. Even if they did have a disagreement for a second, like which they didn't, but yeah, you're right. Who cares? It doesn't mean any that even yes, even if that were the case, that still doesn't tell you that they have a bad relationship.
right, exactly.
Such a ridiculous
So he
concept.
needs to be
So
fired.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing that we never got to, by the way, yeah, fire him, and promote Hackett. The other thing we never got to, real quickly, similar to this, the
He'll
Garrett.
fix everything. Dude,
Yeah,
imagine if they fired him, brought in Hackett, and then there was another video of Aaron Rodgers and Hackett like
oh
butting
my
heads on the
god.
side.
Oh, that's another thing. People don't think Hackett is calling plays. They think it's all Rodgers. So the whole thing's ridiculous. I was gonna say though, I wanted to get to baseball, but it also made this whole conversation made me think of the whole Garrett Cole situation, where Garrett Cole strangely intentionally walks Devers, pitching a perfect game in that situation, or no hitter, no one on base, fourth inning. Kind of a strange situation. I agree. Doesn't really make sense. But people acting like this is going to stay with him, and Cole's never going to be able to recover from this, that this is going to be following him his whole career, how he intentionally walked Devers and he was afraid of Devers. And then, a bad opponent, but he comes back in Oakland and pitches 9 innings and 1 run ball.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, it's just so funny. That was strange that he intentionally walked him in that situation, but
yeah,
why do people have to make it more than it is?
I don't know.
It's weird.
I
Why
don't
is he
know.
so afraid of Devers? I don't know, but like that's it. It's not a career devastating thing. Speaking of the Yankees, and we'll get into the Phillies, magic numbers for both of them, both down to 1 to clinch their respective divisions. Mets tied with the Diamondbacks for the second wildcard spot, 2 games ahead of the Braves. Mets have a series with the Braves, 3 games. Mets Fangraphs postseason odds are at 68%.
Okay.
So they're in a good spot. They have the Braves for 3. The Phillies on Sunday Night Baseball had a chance to clinch the division.
Mhm.
They
did
didn't.
not. Right.
They did not. Mets are playing well.
Mets
Mets are
hot,
finding to win
man.
games
Mets are really, really hot.
without Lindor.
Mm-hmm.
So Phillies are 1 game behind the Dodgers for the top spot in the National League. That's something you'd like to get. Although
Definitely.
I think it's more important for the Yankees to get the top spot in the American League than it is for the Phillies to get the top spot in the National League. Reason is, if you get the 2nd seed in the American League, by the way, the Yankees have a 2.5 game lead on the Guardians for that top spot and the tiebreaker, so they're most likely going to get it. But if you get that 2nd spot, it's a series against the Astros, which, look, I don't think the Astros are nearly as good as they have been, but for 1 5-game series, I don't know. I don't really want to face them, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't want to either.
I think for the Phillies, if they get the 2 and they play the Brewers, I don't think that's that but it's to really avoid them.
Right. Well, I mean, I just think, yeah, I want to get one of the top seeds just so you have that first round bye.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's great. Like, it's not 100% sure thing that's the beneficiary to a team taking 5 days off.
Yeah,
or 6 days off,
true.
whatever it is.
But I also you don't want to get into one of these 3-game series, man. I mean, you could work so hard to win your division, and then it's done in 2 games.
Oh, I agree with
so,
you. You'd rather you'd rather automatically advance to the second round.
I'd rather automatically advance to the second round, especially with just the way the Phillies are set up, because they're going to have good starting pitching. So I think what you've seen is that the bats take a little while to get going after a few days off like that. But if they have, if they get a couple good outings from the starting pitching, and then in theory, the team that you're playing has already just used like a couple of their top pitchers to get through their first round series.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I would rather, I understand the the thought process. And look, the Phillies just did that 2 years in a row as a wild card team. They went in and played really well in the wild card series and advanced to the DS, and then eventually make it to the CS. So I get the theory of staying hot, but I also understand just the rest aspect, and yeah, getting right to the DS I think is a big advantage.
Oh, I agree with you on that. And then you have your pitch. You have your pitcher set up. So
Yep.
yeah, you're right. So last week of the regular season. So next week we will preview the postseason.
Yeah.
And maybe the start of the run where the Phillies and Yankees meet in the World Series. Hopefully.
Imagine that.
We're getting closer. So we'll see.
09 revenge.
09 revenge. Yep. All right. So we got to mock New York fans on Twitter.
Yes, we do.
It's time for the subscriber favorite segment. So, what do you have for us today?
All right. So, got a few. I think I'm gonna go with. I'm deciding which one to leave off. So there's a couple. I have the winner of the week. I'm just trying to decide between the silver and bronze. So, all right, I'm gonna go. So this one's actually this one I think is kind of funny. It's not really in the spirit of mocking the arrogance of New York fans, but I just thought this is a really funny tweet when I read it. So this one comes to us from, the guy's name is Dave Rapaccio, and his Twitter handle is @DrawPlayDave. So he's a Giants fan. He's watching the game yesterday, obviously, and he tweets the following: I am now suddenly very worried that Neighbors is so good that he saves Daniel Jones's job.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So
there's some legitimacy to that, by the way.
I agree, man. Could you imagine if this guy just makes you just good enough to bring the quarterback back?
I mean, he saved Daniel Jones two interceptions yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. That would be great, actually. It's a good spin zone for me.
For you, yeah.
Yeah. I really like that. All right.
That's pretty funny.
This one comes to us from number 2. All right. This one comes to I don't know his name on Twitter because it's like a bunch of emojis. But his handle is
a bunch of emojis.
It's a bunch of emojis. It's So his Twitter handle is @Barrett's Goat. And his profile picture, this is just ultimate weirdo. His profile picture is a picture of RJ Barrett at a press conference, just sitting at a press conference table. So Barrett's Goat, RJ Barrett. For whatever reason, this dude just loves RJ Barrett. So he's a big
Knicks.
Right. But still, change your fucking profile picture, dude. It's weird now. The guy hasn't been on the Knicks in a year, and he wasn't
on the team.
That good for them. He wasn't that good for them when he played for them. So he writes, as we mentioned before, Singletary has another pretty good game for them. So he writes, "Nah, we really got the best number 26 running back in the division." Man, they hate Saquon Barkley, man. They can't get over it.
Would you? All right, let's see. I'm trying to think of an example. All right. I don't think Jason Kelsey's on the level of Saquon Barkley, but what? I'm trying to think of an Eagles player that was drafted by the Eagles that was their face of their franchise for 4 or 5 years. Is there an example that you can think of? Because AJ Brown wasn't drafted by them,
right? Maybe LaShawn McCoy.
So yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So if Shady McCoy went to the Giants in free agency, how would you and most Eagles fans have felt? They would have probably strongly disliked him, right?
I think they'd be a little bit salty, but the interesting thing about this position is that they were just on Hard Knocks this year. So it was pretty clear as day that Barkley wanted to be on the Giants. Like, he was pretty clear about that. And the Giants decided not to re-sign him. And that's fine, but like, don't get mad at him because your team didn't want to re-sign him, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, look, you know what I'm going to say about this, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just for everyone else, I'll say it anyway. As a adult, forget about kids, as an adult, to be upset and mad and angry at another adult for deciding where he wants to work, where he wants to play a game that he's getting paid for and putting everything in his life into is just ridiculous. It's extremely selfish. It's extremely stupid. Like, and it's just kind of pathetic that you care that much about it. You're that emotionally invested into something that you can't even see that this is another human being on the other side of things. It's really ridiculous.
So I'm
That said, it's a huge thing, and I get it. I disagree with it.
With that. I mostly agree with what you said. There are some exceptions to that rule, though. I think this is not one of those exceptions, but I think
what would be an exception?
Oh, Kevin Durant! Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you.
Oh God, yeah, we don't have to get into that right now.
No, we should get into it.
No,
all right.
We'll get into that during basketball
How dare
season.
he want to play with other great players and win a championship? I hate him.
It's different. It's different.
We're so consumed about legacy and what's right and what's weak. Like, a dude wants to play basketball with a great team. I don't have a problem with it. Okay. Anyway, okay.
All right.
So, we have a gold medal winner.
So so again, just so everyone knows, New York has had a very good week. So there's not much that their fans are complaining about. The Giants had a nice win. The Jets had a very nice win. The Yankees are very comfortably, looks like they're going to win their division, be the number 1 seed. The Mets are surging, looking like they're going towards a playoff spot. So all is well in New York right now. So it's a little tougher to find some good ones. But this was my favorite one of the week. So piece of news we hadn't touched on, but Joel Embiid signs a 3-year extension on his current contract. So
yes,
gets another big extension, becomes one of only 5 players in history to eclipse the 500 million mark. Well deserved.
Yep. For sure. Makes sense
this
for
tweet,
Sixers to keep him.
Yep.
Okay, keep going.
Yep. So this tweet, so this news gets announced a couple days ago, and the Philadelphia 76ers, from their official Twitter account, post here to stay. And it's like a picture of Joel Embiid, and it says extension, just a normal
pretty
news post
typical
from
stuff.
them.
Yeah. Okay.
So Knicks Union replies to this tweet.
Here we go.
So it's Knicks Union. It's just at Knicks_Union, and in all capital letters. So again, 3-year extension for Joel Embiid. All capital letters. Knicks Union writes the following: 3 more years of second-round exits. All caps. Now, normally, I would actually kind of
find that funny.
Agree. Yeah, I would probably find that funny. And you know me, I would probably have some similar sentiment, but the lack of self-awareness from a New York Knicks fan talking about getting out of the second round, because the joke is that the Sixers haven't been out of the second round in forever.
Yeah, of course.
Well, there's one team who's actually not been out of the second round in the Eastern Conference for longer than the 76ers, and it just so happens to be the New York Knicks. So a little self-awareness.
You're saying because he's a Knicks fan, he shouldn't throw a jab at the Sixers, or the jab it shouldn't be about the second round. It should be something else.
About the second round. Yeah, the second round.
What if it was good luck with him not playing in the playoffs or something, like being injured in the something like that? Then you'd say it's
could be fine. Although you could just say your entire team just got injured in the playoffs and you lost because of it. So
That's true. Very true. Yeah. And Randall's been hurt the last 2 playoffs.
Yeah, I think that the irony of specifically pointing out the second round thing when your team has literally had a longer drought than the 76ers in the second round.
It probably doesn't feel as long though for Knicks fans, right? Because they haven't been they've been so bad. They haven't been consistently going to the playoffs and losing in the second round.
Right.
So it probably doesn't feel as long. But anyway, I see your point. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So that's that.
So, all right. Well, yeah, we need some New York teams to start losing.
Yes, we do.
But I would think that I'm surprised you didn't see any Giants fans that are acting like their team, they're going to win the division or go to the Super Bowl. Or even Jets fans.
Not there yet, but they're coming. Trust me, dude. I'm telling you. I know this fan base very well, and if they beat
You're
the
talking
Cowboys,
about the Giants fan base.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. They beat the Cowboys.
If they beat the Cowboys, it's coming. The flurry is coming for sure.
I sent you one tweet that I thought was a candidate. I assume it didn't even come close, or just because it was a few days ago.
It was a candidate. It was a candidate. I always appreciate the suggestions. Yeah.
What do you think he was talking? So this is actually, I mentioned Salicata and WFAN earlier. His co-host Brandon Tierney actually tweeted about after the Jets game, like, great win, great team looked great, Rodgers looked great, the coach still has no clue, something like that. Like, I don't know what he was referring to. Like, what did the coach do that he didn't like? I have no idea. I watched the whole game.
They only won by 21.
I watched analyze each. I don't know what he's talking about. I just, maybe was it having Rodgers on the field in the blowout in the fourth quarter? Maybe that. But even if that's the case, like, he has no clue because of that. I don't really know what he was referring to.
Yeah.
All right. So subscriber questions. We have two, but while we were recording, another one came in.
Huh?
Should we use it or should we hold off?
It's
NBA related. We're going to, I'm sure, cover this during the NBA season preview app. But
yeah, let's do it, because I think one of the subscriber questions is going to be pretty quick. So
yeah,
we could probably sneak another one in there.
So the new one that just came in from RW or at RWTK. I don't know exactly what that means or what that stands for, but this is referring to the news that came out a few hours ago.
What do you guys think? Person's profile picture?
I don't know. It's just
I'm just kidding.
Looks like a normal, I don't know, some person. It's him.
Oh, okay.
Him with in a shirt and a hat. I don't know.
It's not Jalen Brunson, dressed in all black or anything.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So speaking of Jalen Brunson, it's not about him, but it's about the Knicks.
Okay.
With the Mitchell Robinson injury, by the way, did you see this news?
I saw that. I did see that. Yeah.
Out to like December or January, recovering from that ankle surgery he had in the offseason, which I don't know. I'm not really taken aback by it. I'm not surprised at all. He's been a slow healer. But what do you think about Julius Randle playing the 5? So we were definitely going to talk about this we definitely will talk about it more in the NBA season preview episode. But I think Julius Randle playing the 5 is a really good idea. I think that actually, I think Mitchell Robinson with this current roster makes less sense than he did with the previous roster. And what I mean by that is, so last year he missed a lot of the season. Isaiah Hartenstein was incredible. And the reason why is because he could do much more offensively. Great nickname. I miss him already.
Yeah.
He could do more offensively. Really good vision, pass the ball. He has a little touch shot, little floater in the lane. The thing about Mitchell Robinson is there's things that he excels at and there's things he's really poor at. Free throw shooting is really bad. Offensively in general, he can't throw it to him in the post. Can't do anything. He's not a good passer. He can't handle. He can't shoot. On offense, he's good at two things: alley-oops, finishing at the rim, and he's an elite offensive rebounder. 2 seasons ago, when he was dominating the glass and a huge part of the offense, the Knicks were a really bad shooting team. One of the worst shooting teams in the league. They needed someone to go get offensive boards. How do they counteract bad shooting? By having more possessions, more chances to score. The current roster's great shooters. They have shooters everywhere, all over the floor. Brunson, Bridges, Devo, OG Anunoby. Randall might not be a great shooter, but he's a very good shooter, especially if he's potentially the worst shooter on the court. And obviously Brunson's a great shooter. So it doesn't really, you don't need offensive rebounding as much. And it clogs the paint, which impacts Julius Randle's ability to drive. So I think offensively, my point is that I think Julius Randle in the 5 and getting Devo or Hart on the floor makes the Knicks much tougher to guard and defend. On the defensive end, Mitch is great as an interior rim protector. He's not good coming out. You've seen this with Embiid pick and roll. He does not recover really very well at all. He does not get out to the big man. He's not really good one-on-one on the outside. He's a rim protector. And you have the type of perimeter defenders the Knicks have, the idea is less guys are getting to the rim. So you have OG and Bridges. There should be less guys getting to the rim. So I think Mitch's impact on the team has kind of been decreased or devalued just in the way they built this roster around Jalen Brunson. So I do think Randall should play the 5 a lot. I don't know if Tibbs is going to do that. He's a very defend the rim type center. That's the coach. That's his defensive philosophy. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I do think Randall should play a good amount of 5.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea in theory. I think that someone who could space the floor a little bit and still hold up well enough in the post. Like I know he's a little bit smaller, but he's very strong from when I watch him. So
Randall, you're talking about Randall,
right?
Yeah, very strong. Yeah, for
so
sure.
He's not someone who's going to get like pushed around. Like from my perspective, I'm thinking, oh well, if they dump the ball down to Embiid in the post, like can he just take him to the woodshed? And I don't think he can. So
well, here's what the Knicks would do about that, though. That's interesting, and we'll talk more about this on the NBA preview season preview episode. But I think you'd see a lot of OG Anunoby on centers, and then maybe some help like Devo, Hart, Bridges, someone coming and helping, as opposed to just Randall one-on-one with a big man. And like, there's only a few centers in the league that you really need a game plan for.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's really,
Yeah, I just think my only thing with that is, look, I don't watch every Knicks game, but do you think that Randall would want to do that? Because like every time I watch him, he kind of wants to. It looks like he wants to ISO. Like it looks like he wants to take the ball and take his man to the cup.
Randall's. So on offense, I think he's going to, no matter what they do at center, even when Mitch comes back, he's going to be, and they're going to have Randall in the spot that iHeart was in last year, where they have on the top of the key, they're doing a pick and roll, they have a screener, and then they have someone like by the free throw, like it was used to be iHeart. So when the defense comes in and does one of their blitzes, Brunson would just pass it to iHeart, and iHeart would essentially he would have 2 defenders, and he would go towards the rim, he could kick out to 3 or kick out, to either side for 3 or to cutter. And it'd be like a mini 3-on-2 in front of by the rim. And I think that's going to be Randall's role a lot on offense. They'll use him obviously with, the screen for Brunson as well on ball. And then when Brunson's on the court, they need Randall to be the playmaker anyway. But I think the bigger thing is, so in terms of his role, accepting his role, he said that he has said that he wants to do any role that helps the team win. He said that. So that might be him trying to get an extension, which he's extension eligible right now and hasn't gotten one. So, but it's a good question. Next subscriber question, Z Shushin. Hey guys, loving the pod. Are you going to talk hockey at some point? Are we going to talk hockey?
Yes. There hasn't been much hockey to talk about. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you might just see a Philadelphia Flyers banner hanging in the background of my screen.
For those on audio, we got a Flyers fan. Surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And a Rangers fan. And yeah, we're actually gonna break up the NHL season preview. We're going to do Devils, Islanders in one, and then Rangers, Flyers in a different one. And it'll be a part of a bigger episode. There won't be individual episodes, but yeah, we'll get into hockey. And during the season, I'm sure we'll be talking hockey a decent amount. I mean, it's not going to be as much as football and basketball, but
yes.
All right, last question, and this is at Alex Marks on Instagram. The Citi Field crowd at Sunday Night Baseball for the Mets-Phillies game was electric. I don't recall Yankee Stadium ever being like that for a regular season game. Do you guys think that Mets fans are better fans than Yankee fans? Okay, this seems like we're a troll.
Yes.
So I can't really answer that question without I'll ask you the questions instead.
Man, I was really hoping to hear your take on it.
Wait. Let me ask you. I'm going to ask you a different question though.
Okay.
Because I can't answer that question without knowing this. He says, "Do you think that Mets fans are better than Yankee fans? What makes a sports fan better than another one?" That's what I want to know. Because I do not know. Simplify this. What makes a sports fan a good fan? And take out your rule book. That's just that rule book of fans.
So what makes a sports fan a good fan is that you have a decent knowledge about the game, the players, the team. But the most important thing about being a sports fan is sticking by your team when they're bad and when they're good.
So loyalty.
Yes. Loyalty
okay.
And yes, exactly. Loyalty and a little bit of wherewithal.
How do you show the loyalty? How would one show loyalty? Could you look at attendance? Can you look at jersey sales? Like, how would you TV ratings? You can't quantify it, you don't think?
No, I don't think you can quantify it, because if the team is really bad, like, why would I take my family to a game? Like, why would I spend an entire day and $500 to take my family to a game, like, when they're horrible, like, for this boring experience? So yeah, you definitely can't go by that. On the other hand, it's kind of like, I mean, you kind of have to. You don't have to watch like every game. Like, I'm thinking back to when, like the Process Sixers. Like, I didn't watch every game of that. Like, why would anyone watch every game of that? Like, they're actively trying to lose. Like, what's the? And again, you have to kind of know what's going on, and you still will watch at least a couple games a week. But yeah, you don't have to watch every pitch of every inning. Like, no, you don't have to do that. But you have to know what's going on. You have to understand the game, and you have to be loyal. And I think the loyalty thing is the biggest aspect of it.
Okay. So, are Mets fans better than Yankee fans?
They are. So I hate the Mets. I do not like them. I don't loathe them like as much as I loathe like the Atlanta Braves or the Giants or the Celtics. Especially this iteration of the Mets. I mean, they're just
dislike
littered.
the Mets more. You dislike the Mets more than the Yankees?
No. Well, here, let me finish what I'm saying. This version of the Mets specifically is just like littered with dorks too. So like, I mean, is there? Could you imagine having to like root for Brandon Nimmo every night? Like, this guy.
You love his running to first base.
Oh my god, there is nothing worse. And just like Alonso is like a big dork too. Like, whatever. But I think that Mets fans are unequivocally, without a doubt, like 1,000 times better than Yankees fans.
At what?
1,000,000%.
At being loyal, you mean?
At being a fan, yeah.
So
you can't listen. You can't. If you are a fan base, and I'm 34 years old, I've been watching sports a long time, and the Mets have never won anything since I've been born. So if you're like a Mets fan and like you watch the Mets and like they've kind of been like a laughing stock
you're
for
a
like a
real
lot
fan,
of
you're saying.
You're a real fan, man, and I
You've stayed through it,
respect
yeah.
the hell out of
Okay.
that. Yeah, the same thing with with the Jets and like the Nets and the Islanders. Like these teams are they're not. It's not easy being a fan of these teams. It's much easier to jump ship and become a Golden State Warriors fan, or or a friggin' Patriots fan, like
Okay,
or a Chiefs fan. Like
but
it's not, it's not hard to be a Yankees fan. Is the
okay,
thing of it? It is not
but
hard.
but that means if that's what you're going by, then typically teams that are bad are going to have the better fans. Because how do you know the Yankee fans wouldn't be loyal if their team wasn't good? You're just
Well,
saying you just don't know.
that's part of it, though. Yeah, that's part of it. If your team is bad and you are still a fan of them, then yeah, you're a fucking good fan, man. If I met a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, I'd be like, damn, good for you, man. Like one day your team's gonna be good and it's gonna be fucking awesome and you're gonna love it.
What about okay? The Mets are doing pretty well this
Listen,
year, though.
here's the thing. The Mets, you could tell, and the reason why City Field, and I don't know about the claim. I don't watch that much Yankees or anything. I can't speak on the claim that Yankee Stadium has never been that loud during a
I
regular
mean, it's
season game.
ridiculous.
And
Obviously, I mean, who I don't know. Maybe I don't. I have no idea. And plus, this person was watching on TV. Like,
right. The theory, though, makes sense because fans that are, I think, the best fans are they are starving for success.
that makes
And I
sense.
think if you're a Mets fan and if you're a 76ers fan or a Jets fan, you are, and you're my age or younger, like you are starving to see your team succeed. And it's just different. It's a different type of desire. It's a different
I
type
can
of
see that.
like
That makes sense.
need. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you flip on a Yankees game, and first of all, half the people there just go to because it's a fun thing to go to a Yankees game, and that's
Yes, I
fine. But
agree.
I don't think that a lot of them are like baseball fans. Like I think the
Exactly. But
majority
that's
of people who are going to a Mets game or like a
There, yes,
Chicago
I
White
agree with
Sox
that.
game,
People that are
they are
going to a Mets games
fans.
are more likely to be Mets fans.
Yes,
Yankees draw a lot of it's the thing to do in New York City
right.
crowd.
It's casual,
But
right?
that doesn't. But if those people that are doing that are not the Yankee fans, how could you come? Like you wouldn't call those people Yankee fans. They're just going to a Yankee game. They're casual people. It's a thing to do. So when you actually compare Yankee fans and Mets fans, that's probably equal then.
No, but they get lumped in with Yankees fans because they're going to the Yankee game and they're in Yankees gear and they're cheering for the Yankees. And then when
Okay,
you ask them about it a week later, they say, I think A-Rod got a hit when I was like, they just don't know. They just don't know anything because they don't
that's a good game to
follow.
play. Ooh, that's a good experiment. I should go to a Yankee playoff game or no Yankee regular season game because playoffs you actually probably get more fans, more diehard fans. So
Hmm.
go. I should go to a game and then just like say like whoever I'm with and just like say something. I mean I've done this before at games, but say like something like, "Where's Derek Jeter? Are they going to put
Yeah.
him in?" I actually did that once at a Heat game.
Oh my God.
LeBron, I kept saying to Jess, I was like really loud so people would hear me. Like where and this is he went back to Cleveland already. I'd be like, are they gonna? Where's LeBron? Is he hurt? Are they gonna put LeBron in? And like you would get, there was a couple people
That's great.
behind me that'd be like, yeah, is he gonna come in? Where's LeBron?
Oh my God. That's great. Oh, I could totally see you doing that, man.
Oh
That
yeah, I
that
should go to a
is
Yankee game
great.
and
You
ask
should.
why is Jeter not at shortstop?
Yeah. Oh my God. You definitely should. That's a
That'd be
great
something.
idea.
Record
But
it.
yeah, yeah. I just think that there's a scale. The easier it is for you to be a fan of something, that the not the worse of a fan you are, but just the easier. It's just easier for you to be a fan. I saw like
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What you're
it's
saying.
just funny. Like you see people on Twitter like Warriors fans complain, they lost, they got eliminated. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, first of all,
So
you live in South Carolina, and you're a Warriors fan. Okay, pal. Like, what are you doing?
this really breaks your rule. It's too bad Brad Daly says isn't on this because he breaks a lot of your rules.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not
You
hard. Oh, that's the other thing. You can't
like one of the Cowboys, Lakers, Yankees. You can't just like them unless you're like close vicinity to those teams.
root for your home team unless there's a specific reason.
Okay, there has to be a reason.
That you don't do so. Right. A specific
if you
reason.
live in a certain
Other
area
than, right.
and you grew up with like a dad who was from New York, so he roots for the New York teams, there has to be some reason behind it.
There has to be some reason behind it, and it's not just because they were amazing and they won.
All right, let me ask you a question. I have two questions for you. I want to get back to the Mets thing. I have one more. I have a question about their attendance, but first, I want to ask you if this is acceptable. Judge Sistad of Sports Fandom, right?
All rise.
All rise. Does this break the rule or is this acceptable? My dad grew up watching football. There were only a couple games on. It wasn't like now you can have access to all these games. For some reason, the Rams, I think it was because they had like Jack Youngblood, who was like this Hall of Fame player. They were regularly on TV. So he grew up watching the Rams play. This is when they were in LA, the first time they were in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So he is a Rams fan, claims to be. He also claims to be a Washington, formerly Redskins fan. Now, I don't know. He also roots for the Giants and the Jets. Is this allowed?
No, it's not. Too many.
At what point, if it was just the Rams, lived in New York his whole life, New York and New Jersey his whole life, if it was just the Rams for that reason I provided, is that acceptable?
Oh, totally acceptable. Totally
once you throw in the other teams, you can't root for other teams, right? That's like a big no-no.
But yeah, and well,
especially Giants, same division. You can't root for it. Like he's rooting for the Giants in Washington, same division. You can't do that.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a no-no. But when you go through, I think the rule of thumb is when you go through some real down times. Like the Rams might have been good when your dad watched them, but like if you stuck through being a Rams fan, like, and you had, I mean, some of those St. Louis Rams teams were so bad.
Horrible.
Like when I was growing up, that they had like that one good year when they won the Super Bowl.
No, they had the greatest show on turf. They were good for a couple of years.
Right.
But after that, yeah, then they weren't good.
They were god awful. Yeah. So yeah, if you stuck through that, then yeah, I think that's totally fair. And again, it's not like they were ever like this dynasty. Like they might have been good back in the day, might have won a championship or two, but they weren't, the Kansas City Chiefs who just roll out of bed and they're in the championship game every year.
You love that saying. Okay, so back to the Mets real quickly. Thank you for the judge ruling.
You're welcome.
Judge just out of rules, unacceptable. I'll let my dad know.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Joseph.
Yeah. He's gonna be in our next subscriber question segment.
Yeah.
Why aren't I allowed to be a fan of all these teams? Okay. He doesn't sound like that, by the way. The Mets, 17th in attendance this year. They're good. What do you make of that?
What do I make of the attendance?
Yeah, regarding the real fans thing. There's a lot of reasons why someone won't go to a baseball game. It costs a lot. Travel. You're busy. There's many more reasons. You can throw them out. We don't need to. But that's pretty striking. They're 17th in the majors in attendance. Like that's...
Yeah,
I would think that's alarming.
Yeah, I would have thought
the
it would
Yankees
be higher.
are second, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's not shocking.
But we've already established that's not because of diehard Yankee fans. That's because it's a thing to do. It's also much easier to get to Yankee Stadium.
Right, exactly. And it's it's probably half of people who are like taking their clients out to a ball game.
Yeah, it's probably true.
You could pan into the crowd and see people in like total like collared shirts, like they're on a
having a conversation with each other, not even looking at the field once. I've noticed that many times at Yankee games.
Exactly. Yes. Drinking like a glass of like Chardonnay, like not even.
You have to drink beer at a game. Is that your thought process?
But I mean, you don't have to drink beer, but like
can't drink Chardonnay.
Can't drink wine. Yeah, like you could have a Surfside, an iced tea and vodka, or a high noon or something.
Well, midnight.
But yeah, you can. Yeah, you can't drink wine at a ball game.
If any of you didn't catch that, I
but
call high noons low midnights. So there's that.
yes,
Yeah,
I caught it.
you caught it. All right, so the Mets 10 to 17th. It's not a reflection of their bad fans. It's a reflection of what is the question?
I think it's a reflection of they were pretty bad to start the season, and coming off
And
of
they
last year,
didn't have high expectations coming in. Okay,
right.
yeah. So
Yeah, so I
next
think
year,
as the team catches some momentum, yeah, you're going to get more people in the crowds. And I think that's totally fair. People might say, "Oh, that's fair weather." Like, again, why would I go travel
no,
90
there's a
minutes
difference.
to?
I agree. Yeah, there's a difference between giving up fandom and saying I don't want to pay to go see this team. There's a huge difference there. I agree.
Yes, yes.
I agree completely with that. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
And
At Alex Marks.
yeah, all right. I was just gonna say something to the question about your dad. Like, I think it's okay to like root for some other teams. Like, when your team is really bad, like, I think it's okay to have a little bit of a.
But it can't be a rival.
No, no, it definitely can't be rival. But like, again, for example, like process Sixers, like, I don't know. I used to really like watching LeBron and the Miami Heat. Thought that was cool. I used to root for them to win the title. But
when your team is absolutely horrible and you know they're intentionally losing, that changes things.
yes,
The process Sixers were intentionally being bad. So it's like, why am I going to be upset or root for them to win if they're not trying to win? Right?
right,
Like that's
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
All right. Well, that will wrap it up for the episode. We'll see you on episode 8. Oh, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Give us a like. Please subscribe. Share with your friends, families, and coworkers. We'll see you next time.
Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew, sis, that glad unite. Philly and Y in the spot.